Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you is going to shake you to your core. It's going to make you question everything you thought you knew about loyalty, about legacy, and about the very soul of Randy Orton. Before I dive into the absolute bombshell that dropped on Monday Night Raw, before I break down every single detail of what might be the most shocking betrayal in recent WWE history, I need you to do something for me right now. Smash that like button, hit subscribe like your life depends on it, and drop a comment telling me if you think Randy Orton has lost his mind or if this is the most brilliant move of his career. Because what happened last night is going to have the entire wrestling world talking for months, and you need to hear every single word of what went down when the Viper decided to align himself with the faction that nobody saw coming. The arena was absolutely electric last night. Monday Night Raw was already stacked with incredible matches and storyline developments, but nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, was prepared for what was about to unfold. The Vision has been dominating Raw for weeks now, taking out legends, destroying fan favorites, and making it very clear that they believe the future of WWE belongs to them and nobody else. This faction, led by their charismatic but ruthless leader, has been on an absolute tear, recruiting members strategically, targeting specific superstars, and creating chaos wherever they go. They've positioned themselves as the new guard, the generation that's going to push out all the old veterans and take control of WWE by force if necessary. Their message has been consistent and brutal: adapt to the new vision or get left behind in the dust of irrelevance. The crowd has been booing them relentlessly, rejecting their message, supporting the established stars they've been targeting. Fans have been waiting for someone to stand up to the Vision, someone with the credibility and the skill to push back against this insurgency and restore order to Monday Night Raw. There had been speculation all week on social media about who might be returning to confront them. Rumors were swirling about potential comebacks, surprise returns, legends stepping out of retirement to teach these young upstarts a lesson about respect. The anticipation was building with every passing segment, every time the Vision appeared on screen to cut another scathing promo about how the old generation needs to step aside. Then it happened. That music hit. That familiar theme that has been associated with one of the greatest superstars in WWE history for over 2 decades. Randy Orton's theme song blasted through the arena speakers, and the place absolutely erupted. People jumped out of their seats, signs went up in the air, the roar of the crowd was deafening. Randy Orton has been out of action for several months dealing with an injury, and his return had been teased but never confirmed. Nobody knew when he would be back or what condition he would be in after such a significant time away from the ring. But there he was, walking out onto that stage with the confidence and intensity that has defined his entire Hall of Fame career. The Viper looked focused, determined, maybe even angry as he made his way down the ramp. The Vision was already in the ring, having just finished attacking another veteran superstar, standing over their fallen opponent with those smug expressions that have made them the most hated group in WWE. When they saw Randy Orton coming, their expressions changed. You could see a mixture of surprise, concern, and maybe even a little bit of fear cross their faces. Because everyone in that building, everyone watching at home, knows what Randy Orton is capable of when he's motivated. This is a man who has won every championship WWE has to offer, a man who has main event WrestleManias, a man who has RKO'd everyone from legends to rookies without hesitation. The Vision knew they might be in serious trouble. Orton grabbed a microphone as he slid into the ring, and the crowd was chanting his name so loudly that he had to wait several seconds before he could even speak. When the noise finally died down enough, Randy started talking, and his words were measured and cold. He said he's been sitting at home for months watching what's been happening on Monday Night Raw. He's watched the Vision run roughshod over the roster, attacking people he respects, people he's been in the ring with, legends of this business who deserve better than to be ambushed and beaten down by a group of entitled wrestlers who think they're owed something. The crowd was cheering every word, thinking they knew exactly where this was going. Randy Orton, the seasoned veteran, the legend killer who became a legend himself, was about to declare war on the Vision and single-handedly dismantle them. But then something happened that nobody in that arena, nobody watching at home, nobody in the entire wrestling world saw coming. Randy's tone changed. He said that while he was watching all of this unfold, while he was analyzing what the Vision has been doing and saying, he realized something important. He realized that they're absolutely right. The crowd's cheers turned to confused murmurs. People weren't sure they heard him correctly. Randy continued, saying that he spent 20+ years in WWE, given everything he has to this company, sacrificed his body, his time, his health, and for what? To watch the same old guard maintain their stranglehold on the top positions? To see the same people get opportunity after opportunity while talented wrestlers in their prime get overlooked? To be part of a system that values nostalgia and name recognition over hunger and evolution? The arena was in shock. The confused murmurs turned into scattered boos as people began to understand what was happening but couldn't quite believe it. Randy Orton said that the Vision approached him weeks ago while he was recovering. They presented him with their philosophy, their plan for the future, and their offer for him to be part of something revolutionary rather than clinging to past glory like so many others. He said he thought about it long and hard, considered all the angles, weighed his options, and came to the conclusion that aligning with the vision isn't betraying WWE or betraying the fans, it's evolution, it's adaptation, it's ensuring his relevance in a business that moves forward with or without you. The boos were getting louder now, building to a crescendo of rejection and anger. The Vision members in the ring were smiling, looking at each other with satisfaction, extending their hands toward Randy Orton in a gesture of welcome. Randy looked at their hands, looked out at the crowd which was now in full revolt against what they were witnessing, and then he did it. He shook hands with every member of the Vision, officially cementing his alliance with the faction that has been terrorizing Monday Night Raw. The leader of the Vision grabbed Randy and raised his arm in the air, declaring that with the Viper on their side, nobody can stop them now, the old generation is finished, and the future is here whether anyone likes it or not. But it got worse. It got so much worse. The veteran superstar who the Vision had attacked earlier was still lying in the ring, barely conscious, vulnerable. Randy Orton looked down at this person, someone he's known for years, someone he's shared locker rooms with, someone who has always shown him respect. The crowd was pleading, chanting no repeatedly, begging Randy not to do what everyone feared he was about to do. Randy stared at this fallen wrestler for a long moment, and you could see people in the front row shaking their heads, holding their hands up as if they could somehow stop what was coming. Then Randy Orton hit an RKO, his signature move, on someone who couldn't defend themselves, driving them into the mat with vicious impact. The boos were absolutely deafening now, a wave of pure hatred and disappointment washing over Randy as he stood in the ring with the Vision, looking completely unbothered by the crowd's reaction. The show went to commercial with that image frozen on screen, Randy Orton standing tall with the Vision, their arms raised in triumph, while the commentary team expressed their shock and disgust at what had just transpired. When Raw came back from break, social media was already exploding. Wrestling fans were losing their minds, celebrities were tweeting about it, trending topics were being dominated by Randy Orton's betrayal. This wasn't just a wrestling angle, this had become a cultural moment, the kind of thing that transcends the wrestling bubble and reaches mainstream awareness. Now let's break down exactly what this means and why it's so significant, because the implications of Randy Orton joining the Vision are absolutely massive. First, we need to understand who Randy Orton is in the context of WWE history. This isn't some mid-card wrestler making a heel turn, this isn't an up-and-coming star trying to get heat by joining a faction. This is Randy Orton, a third-generation superstar whose family name is synonymous with professional wrestling excellence. His grandfather was a wrestler, his father Bob Orton Jr. was a legendary performer, and Randy himself has been at the top of WWE for his entire career since debuting over 20 years ago. He's a multiple-time WWE champion, a Royal Rumble winner, a WrestleMania main eventer, and someone who has literally done everything there is to do in this business. Randy has always been positioned as the company man, the reliable veteran who WWE could count on to deliver in big moments, to carry storylines, to help younger talent develop. Even when he was a heel earlier in his career, it was within the traditional WWE structure, playing his role, eventually turning face when the story called for it. He's been the locker room leader, the guy who cuts promos endorsing WWE at press conferences, the ambassador for the company at media events. For him to turn his back on all of that, to align with a faction whose entire philosophy is about tearing down everything WWE has built, is a rejection of his own legacy and the legacy of everyone who came before him. Think about what the Vision represents. They're not just another heel faction looking to win championships and main event WrestleManias. Their ideology is about systematic change, about forcing out the older generation through violence and intimidation, about creating a WWE that exists solely for them and people like them. They've been openly disrespectful to legends, they've vandalized property associated with WWE history, they've attacked retired wrestlers who came back for special appearances. This isn't your typical wrestling bad guy behavior, this feels more insidious, more calculated, more designed to genuinely upset fans rather than just generate heat that leads to a satisfying comeuppance. And now Randy Orton, the apex predator, the Viper, the legend killer who became a legend, has decided this is the side he wants to be on. The same Randy Orton who has had incredible programs with every major star of the last 2 decades, who has shown respect to veterans even when his character was supposed to be arrogant and vicious, who has always understood the history and tradition of WWE, has thrown all of that away to join a group that wants to erase that history and tradition. The cognitive dissonance is staggering, and that's exactly why fans are so angry about it. Let's talk about the wrestlers who are now targets because of this development. With Randy Orton in their ranks, the Vision becomes exponentially more dangerous. Randy isn't just a name, he's one of the most skilled in-ring performers of his generation. His timing is impeccable, his instincts are unmatched, and his ability to hit the RKO out of nowhere has become one of the most iconic aspects of modern WWE. Now imagine that weapon being used strategically by a faction that already has numbers and youth on their side. Superstars who might have felt relatively safe, who might have thought they could defend themselves against the Vision's attacks, now have to worry about Randy Orton lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike when they least expect it. People like John Cena if he returns, veterans like The Miz or AJ Styles, legends who make occasional appearances, they all just became hunted targets. Because the vision with Randy Orton doesn't just want to beat the old guard in matches, they want to humiliate them, injure them, force them into retirement. Randy's presence gives them credibility they didn't have before. When the Vision was just a group of relatively newer stars talking about taking over WWE, people could dismiss them as delusional upstarts who would eventually get their comeuppance. But with a Hall of Fame level talent like Randy Orton endorsing their message and joining their cause, it forces everyone to take them seriously as a legitimate threat to the entire roster structure. The storytelling possibilities here are endless and all of them are compelling. You could have former allies of Randy Orton trying to talk sense into him, trying to understand what happened to change his perspective so dramatically. People like Riddle, who had that incredible tag team run with Randy, would be devastated by this betrayal. Their partnership was built on mutual respect despite their vastly different personalities, and seeing Randy throw that away would be crushing. Imagine Riddle confronting Randy, asking him why, begging him to reconsider, only to get beaten down by the Vision as Randy watches without emotion. That's powerful storytelling that creates real emotional investment from the audience. You could have legends from Randy's past coming back to try and stop him. People like Edge, who has had some of the best matches of Randy's career, who knows him better than almost anyone in the business. Edge could return and deliver a passionate promo about how disappointed he is, about how Randy is disgracing the Orton family name, about how this isn't the man he respects and considers a friend. That confrontation would be must-see television, two of the greatest performers of their generation on opposite sides of a philosophical divide, both convinced they're right, both willing to fight to prove their point. There's also the question of motivation, which WWE Creative needs to address carefully for this angle to have maximum impact. Why did Randy Orton really make this decision? What does he gain from aligning with the Vision? In his promo, he talked about relevance and evolution, but is that the whole story? Is he bitter about something that happened behind the scenes? Did he get passed over for an opportunity he felt he deserved? Is he genuinely convinced that the Vision's philosophy is correct? Or is this a more cynical calculation about extending his career by attaching himself to the next generation of stars? These questions need answers, and those answers need to feel authentic and consistent with Randy's character. One possibility is that Randy sees the writing on the wall regarding his place in WWE. He's been at the top for so long that maybe he fears becoming irrelevant, fears being relegated to the occasional special appearance or nostalgia segment. By joining the Vision, he stays central to WWE programming, stays involved in the most important storylines, and positions himself as a key player rather than a legacy act. That motivation makes sense for his character and creates a tragic element to his heel turn. He's so afraid of being forgotten that he's willing to betray everything he stood for just to remain in the spotlight. That's compelling character work that gives depth to what could otherwise be a simple heel turn. Another angle is that Randy has always had that streak of ruthlessness and calculation in his character. Even when he was a face, there was always the sense that the Viper could strike at any moment, that Randy Orton was fundamentally someone who did what was best for Randy Orton regardless of loyalty or friendship. Maybe this is just that aspect of his character taken to its logical extreme. The Vision offered him power, security, and a guarantee of relevance, so he took it without hesitation or remorse. That would be consistent with the legend killer persona he built his career on, someone willing to take out icons and heroes if it benefited his own status. The matches that this angle sets up are all incredibly exciting prospects. Randy Orton teaming with members of the Vision against groups of veteran superstars banding together to fight back. Multi-man warfare where Randy's experience and ring generalship gives the Vision a massive advantage. Dream matches between Randy and current top stars who oppose the Vision's ideology. Singles matches where Randy has to prove he can still go at the highest level despite time away from injury. Tag team matches where his chemistry with various Vision members gets tested and developed. All of these scenarios provide fresh content and keep the storyline moving forward with purpose. Think about a potential match at a major premium live event like Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. Randy Orton and the Vision in a War Games-style match against a team of legends and current stars fighting to save WWE from their hostile takeover. The drama, the violence, the high stakes of that environment would be perfect for this storyline. Or imagine Randy in the Royal Rumble match itself, eliminating legends and fan favorites one by one, stacking up bodies in service of the Vision's goals, maybe even winning the whole thing to earn a championship match at WrestleMania. The heat would be nuclear, and the eventual showdown between Randy and whoever he challenges would feel massively important. We should also discuss how this affects Randy Orton's legacy in the long term, because that's a consideration for both the character and the performer. Randy's career has been defined by evolution. He started as a young cocky heel in Evolution alongside Triple H, Ric Flair, and Batista. He became the legend killer, taking out icons and establishing himself through those victories. He transitioned to the Authority storylines, then became the Viper character that's defined most of his career. He's had face runs and heel runs, been a lone wolf and been part of factions. This latest development is another chapter in that constant evolution, but it's potentially the most controversial one because it seems to betray the legacy he's spent decades building. For fans who have supported Randy throughout his entire career, who have bought his merchandise, chanted his name, defended him during various controversies, this feels like a slap in the face. That's exactly the reaction WWE wants for a heel turn of this magnitude, but it's a delicate balance. You want fans to be angry at the character while still being invested enough to follow the storyline and ultimately pay to see him get his comeuppance. If people become so disgusted that they tune out entirely, then the angle has failed. WWE has to walk the tightrope carefully, giving Randy enough sympathetic motivation or enough entertainment value that people hate him but still want to watch him every week. The response on social media has been mixed in fascinating ways. Some fans are applauding WWE for having the courage to turn such an established star heel in such a definitive and shocking way. They're excited about the storytelling possibilities and the matches this will create. Other fans are genuinely upset, feeling betrayed that someone they've supported for so long would do something so despicable to beloved veterans. Then there's a third group who are skeptical, wondering if this is the start of a long-term story where Randy is actually infiltrating the Vision to destroy them from within. That would be a classic wrestling storyline twist, the hero pretending to join the villains to gain their trust before ultimately betraying them. Personally, I don't think that's what's happening here. The way Randy delivered that promo, the look in his eyes, the conviction in his voice, it all felt too genuine to be a work within a work. I think WWE is committing to a full heel turn for Randy Orton, and I think it's going to last for a significant period of time, possibly leading all the way to WrestleMania or beyond. That's the right call creatively because anything less would undercut the shock value of what happened last night. If Randy turns on the Vision in a few weeks, then this whole angle was meaningless. But if he's truly committed to this faction for the long haul, if he racks up victories against heroes and legends, if he helps the Vision achieve their goals of dominance, then when he eventually gets his comeuppance, it will be one of the most satisfying moments in recent WWE history. Let's think about who ultimately dethrones Randy and the Vision, because that's the natural endpoint of this story. It could be a returning legend like John Cena, coming back to save the company from this hostile takeover and proving that the old guard still has one more fight left. It could be a current top star like Cody Rhodes or Seth Rollins, stepping up as the leader of the resistance against the Vision and proving they belong at the top of WWE. It could even be a newer star who rises through the ranks specifically to stop the Vision, earning their spot as a main eventer by being the one to end this threat. All of these options have merit and would create compelling storytelling. The promos we're going to get from this are going to be absolutely must-see television. Randy Orton is one of the best talkers in WWE when he's given good material and proper motivation. His heel promos have always been cold, calculated, and dripping with arrogance. Now he has the Vision as his mouthpiece amplifying his message, and he has legitimate reasons to be cutting scathing promos on the veterans and legends who he's turning his back on. Every Monday night is going to feature Randy explaining his actions, justifying his choices, attacking his critics verbally before attacking them physically. Those segments are going to generate massive reactions and keep people tuning in to see what he says next. The merchandise implications are interesting too. Randy Orton has been a huge merchandise mover for WWE throughout his career. Now he's aligned with the Vision, so does he get new merchandise reflecting his membership in the faction? Do fans actually buy heel Randy Orton merchandise or do they refuse on principle? WWE has to be calculating all of these factors when they make a turn this significant. The goal is to keep Randy relevant and valuable to the company while also telling a compelling story. If the heel turn results in decreased interest and lower revenue, then it's not achieving its purpose from a business perspective. But I think WWE is confident this is going to work, and I think they're right to be confident. Randy Orton has the credibility and the skill to make this work at the highest level. The Vision gets legitimized by his presence and becomes a truly formidable force. The storyline has legs to run for months with multiple permutations and developments. The eventual payoff when Randy gets defeated will be incredibly satisfying for fans who are currently angry about this betrayal. All of these elements suggest WWE has a long-term plan here and they're committed to executing it properly. What I want to know from all of you watching this video right now is how you feel about Randy Orton joining the Vision. Are you excited about the storytelling possibilities? Are you angry at Randy for betraying everything he stood for? Do you think this is a terrible decision that's going to hurt his legacy? Or do you think this is exactly what WWE needed to shake things up and create fresh content? Drop a comment right now with your thoughts because I want to hear from every single one of you. Tell me who you think should be the one to finally take down Randy and the Vision. Tell me if you're going to keep watching or if this has turned you off from Monday Night Raw. Tell me if you think Randy is secretly playing the long game or if this is a genuine permanent heel turn. Make sure you've smashed the like button if you've enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most shocking moments in recent WWE history. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future videos breaking down all the developments as this storyline unfolds. Share this video with your wrestling friends who need to hear this analysis because this is the conversation everyone needs to be having. Randy Orton joining the Vision changes everything about Monday Night Raw, and we're going to be talking about the ramifications for months to come. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we continue to follow this absolutely insane storyline. The Viper has chosen his side, and WWE will never be the same.